This is Ben Landesman with Lawson Screen and Digital Products.
This is Deborah Sexton.
This is Peter Walsh with M&R.
Scott Ritter with the Decorated Apparel Expo.
And you are listening to Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
It's hosted by Terry Combs and Aaron Montgomery.
A gift to the industry.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It is Friday, July 24th, 2020, and I am Eric Campbell sitting in for the currently missing Terry Combs.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at our success group. You can find him over at ericcampbell.com. So
True.
Eric, you're pushing the buttons and talking and doing it all. So a little bit later on, I'd expect to see some juggling maybe, or balancing some plates in your head, whatever.
We'll find out if I push all the buttons at the right time. We'll see how that goes, because I didn't introduce myself. I haven't promoted my own show or website yet. So
we're all good, man.
Okay.
Yeah, but today we've got a really special guest,
We do.
Jason Rink, and some of you may know him if you were at ThreadX. He was a speaker there. Fantastic presentation. Everybody I've talked to just continues to talk about it and what they learned. So we were fortunate enough to grab some time from Jason this morning, and we're going to talk about video marketing and digital content. And Jason is an award-winning producer and director and knows all about this stuff. So, we've got some questions, but if you guys have questions for him, we'll get him in front of Jason. This is really exciting for me. Eric, you and I both geek out over this kind of thing. So, bonus times probably in our future. Just throwing
I have a feeling, especially because honestly, really dynamic presentation. And one of the presentations where I took immediate actionable notes, and I was like, all right, going back. It was me. And since Terry's not here, I'll go ahead and pretend that I have my yellow legal pad. But I did not. I've got the hipster, Moleskine.
Rocket book or something like that. I still have my dry erase marker.
Field notes. Aaron Drablin was there, so I got to hit field notes, right? Otherwise, it's anathema.
Nice.
I had the field notes. Thanks, crap.
Cool.
All right.
Well, Eric,
Cheers,
we've got regulators checking in already. We've got
All
Todd,
right.
good morning, and Christine, good morning, and Rena joining us, and Martha, Wade, Maria. See how fast I can get you to go, Eric.
Don't be a jerk just because I'm on the buttons, man.
Yeah, I know. And Mark. And Eric says, at least Eric remembered he needed to hit the button to turn the title slide off. Last time he and I did a video, I had an issue with that. Hey, these are all part of the fun of live video, and we're gonna talk to Jason about some of that stuff here today. So really looking forward to that. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining us here this morning. Sharon, good morning. All right, let's hit some news here so we can get to Jason as quickly as possible. Eric, we're really excited to announce that our good friend Marcia Derryberry, who was formerly with Impressions, is now, it's official, it's announced, and she's back in the industry already. So awesome. We knew that somebody of that level of talent and experience was going to get sucked up pretty quick, even in a difficult time. But she is now the director of marketing and sales at Action Engineering. So cool. Marcia has been the editor of Impressions Magazine for 33 years. For the past 20 years, Marcia has been the editor-in-chief and conference content coordinators for Impressions Expo, formerly ISS. So once Marcia gets settled in, we're going to have her join us and tell us a little bit about the new gig and what's going on over there at Action Engineering. So I think I may have said Action Illustrated first, didn't I?
No, you said Action Engineering. You're
all right. Well. I was just thinking it in my head. So anyhow, that's my.
Are you having the I don't know what to do with my hands moment again already?
Every week now. It's been. So anyhow, all right. Well, Eric, what do you got?
Well, you know what? Rather than just kind of do a single news item, usually we do one news item, we send out a link, and that's what we do. But I just wanted to say this in general, looking over all the news out there, there's some rough stuff. We saw layoffs and furloughs at Alpha Broder, and that's rough to see. But we're also seeing a bunch of people hiring and shifting gears. And I just thought it was a cool thing to kind of call out. There were people doing car apps who were shifting to doing social distance signage, and people doing alternate lines of promotional products. I've seen a lot of people putting together work at home packages. So it's at least in the industry, no matter what you think of what's going on, it's cool to see so many people who are seeing opportunity out there, shifting, doing business, and just making it work. And that's just really cool. Finding out ways to promote different products and finding out online ways to educate, like what we've had to do. I mean, we did the stuff for DAX. I know if you guys don't know, Aaron just busted his butt producing all of the online content for DAX when kind of DAX had to shift away from the conferences. So it was just really cool stuff to see. And I wanted to say, hey, that's awesome, guys, keep it up, and I'm glad to see that. But I do have one little fun piece that I shared on Facebook this week, and this was actually something coming out of the Vanderbilt Medical Center, and it's called the Button Project. So when in Nashville, where Vanderbilt is, when the COVID-19 case started spring up, they had to have masks on for everybody. And in order to do the safety measures, you had masks on. They found out that a lot of the children's hospital people who were staying there, the kids, were a little worried, don't feel as comfortable with the people with the masks on all the time. And so they started making buttons that show the people's faces. So they started to do these buttons. And I thought, wow, what an awesome thing that we could show to all of our sublimators and anybody who's doing digital decorating. If you can imagine now that here's this entire opportunity where if we all have to wear masks, you can throw somebody's shirt, throw their face on their shirt, throw their face on a button, throw their face on some sort of other promotional product to go with it. And I just thought it was really cool. Makes the kids more comfortable. And it was just something interesting that we can get in on. So cool to see projects that are helping out, making people comfortable, and providing more opportunities for our decorators out there.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I saw that. I appreciate you sharing. And yeah, my wife's actually starting to make face covers masks with people are submitting their pictures, and she's just kind of cropping this part as best she can. And there's been some really funny ones, like I did one for her mom, and and just the face looked really funny. She said she wore it out to the grocery store the other day, and it got a lot of laughs and attention. And then the very first one we did, I actually made it for my wife, and didn't get the proportions right, so she has this big clown looking smile going on. So it just all of these cool, fun, creative opportunities. Like you said, there's plenty of suck out there, but what are you going to do about it? What are you doing? And I love seeing everybody shifting and working together, and it is what it is. So we've got to make the best of our situation and move forward. So it is great to share that kind of stuff, Eric. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this would normally be the dad joke time, and I forgot to get it from the 9-year-old this morning. Now I could go look something up. In fact, Todd's already sent me a couple. So if we really have to, but I'd rather have you, the regulators, this is your time. So this is your time to shine. I will share one of Todd's to give you guys a second to post a couple, and we'll just hit 2 or 3 here, and you guys can all decide and groan and moan in the background and all that kind of fun stuff. But let's see here. Yep, this is the one right here.
All right.
Ready, Eric? You don't even have to put up with this one beforehand. Why can't a nose be 12 inches long?
All right. Why can't a nose be 12 inches long?
Because then it would be a foot.
I knew it was coming.
Groan. So if anybody else has one out there, feel free to post them up there.
I was expecting a lot worse if Todd sent it in, but
there's some
all right. Well, come on, regulators. If you want more dad jokes in the show, send the dad jokes in, get in the comments. Same as we always want comments and questions, dad jokes are always welcome. But before we dive in, we want to thanks to everyone for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. If you're listening to the podcast version, we'd appreciate you sharing this with your industry friends so they can become regulators too. Plus, we would love and appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. It's like we're a real podcast now, or wherever you listen to the show.
Only took 8 years.
It only took 8 years to get here. 8-year overnight success. We are always looking for new guests as well, folks. So whatever your ideas are, whatever your guests are, if you have anyone you'd like to join us, have them go to calendly.com/2regularguys with your show ideas. And if you're watching us live right now, absolutely join in the comments and questions. Reach out to your industry friends right now. Share it now and have them join us too so we can do this live.
Nice. That's really good, Eric. I forgot that you'd be reading this and trying to copy and paste and put stuff out there. So nice job by you. I should have trying. I should have helped. All right, cool. Eric, are you good to let's hear a word from our sponsor, Impressions Expo, and then we can dive in with Jason.
Absolutely.
What is Impressions Expo? Impressions Expo, formerly known as ISS, is the premier trade show dedicated to the imprinted and decorated apparel industry. They have 5 shows that are produced annually in each region of the United States, including Long Beach, California, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Orlando, Florida, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and cap off the year at Fort Worth, Texas. Each of those 5 annual shows also feature over 30 seminars and hands-on workshops in categories such as screen printing, embroidery, digitizing, digital decorating, and much, much more. Visit impressionsexpo.com for more details. And while there, use the promo code RegularGuysIE for a free Expo pass. Again, make sure you visit impressionsexpo.com to get more details. And the 2 regular guys look forward to seeing you there. All right. Well, thanks very much to Impressions for their support. We're still checking in with them regularly to see what they've still got coming up. Potentially, all of the last 3 remaining shows that they have on the schedule are still, as of today, on the books. Now, Terry will be continuing to keep up with them because obviously they've all had to really change and shift and whatnot. But Fort Worth is still on schedule as planned. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for them and make sure you get over there to Impressions Expo and give them a little love and support. They could certainly use it here in these trying times. They're head down and also on top of having to juggle all this stuff, having to furlough some really good people like Marcia and others. So,
and I'd say, any of the people who are organizing things right now, definitely give them some love. I mean, I know everybody's had to do these major changes where it's like, we're shifting to all the online education, we're shifting all this other stuff. It makes a great difference to give them kind of that appreciation when you hear from them. So definitely check in with your people from the trade show world.
Totally.
It's been a hard time.
Totally. And then I just saw Alan Howe checking in. Alan, somebody coming up right now, actually. In fact, I believe Alan was who introduced Jason to the industry, but we'll find out more here. Eric, you want to go ahead and introduce Jason, and I will click him in when you're ready.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and start off. So Jason Rink is the CEO of and owner of Simplifilm, a video production agency based in Austin, Texas. An award-winning producer and director of documentary films, Jason has over a decade of commercial filmmaking experience. He has worked with A-list talent and celebrities like Academy Award-winning actor Richard Dreyfuss, U.S. senators, and presidential candidates. He has worked with global brands such as Aston Martin, Toyota, Mazda, and Mercer. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Absolutely.
Alan just said he's a fake, so I don't know. That's not a great way to start, but
they're friends, guys.
Yeah, that's Alan. You can't bring him anywhere, even to an online party. He crashes it. So
I know we tried to block him, but he must have got through that. So I guess not really on track here, but Jason, to give us a little background, your history with Alan and how you came to find our little fun industry here.
Well, that's funny. Alan actually took me in as a young man, as a boarder in his house when I was looking for a place to live many years ago. I'm going to say this was back in 1996. So I lived with Alan for a little while at his bachelor pad in Central Ohio. And so that's where we go back to. And while I was with him, I ended up going to work for an equipment finance company. And I did a lot of work in the screen printing, sign, and apparel industry, strangely. Nice. So, Alan had that background, and then the company I was working at. So I would end up going to these different trade shows, all the time, and looking for small businesses. We would lease, screen printing machines, embroidery, the sign, big wide format printers. Again, this is like in the late 90s. So I know a lot's changed. Well, some's changed. Then, but yeah, so I've got this strange background of spending 10 years in equipment financing. And part of that process was me going to screen printing companies and learning that industry from the finance side. So, cool. So anyway, that's where that is. And Alan's been a good friend of mine. He was in my wedding party when I was got married in 1998. So, nice. Love the guy like a brother.
Nice. Yeah. Well,
he must like you. That's what I say here is when they're making fun of you the most, that's when you know that they like you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. And he talks glowingly of you in private. So I totally would tell. But in fact, Dave Harding from DCA said the man, the myth, the legend. You forgot to say he also worked at DCA. So there you go.
That was the equipment finance company. Yes, and I've known Dave for a while as well. So
cool. That's
this
awesome.
ragtag bunch of people in this industry. But so I spent 10 years in equipment financing. And then when I turned 35 years old, I looked into the abyss of being a VP at Chase Bank, writing leases. And I was like, this really isn't what I want to do with my life. And originally I'd gone to film school. So there's a whole nother podcast to talk about how that all happened.
Yeah, exactly.
I decided I wanted to start a media production company. And so that's what I did 10 years ago, and, just bootstrapped that thing. I was just a dude with a camera, and grew that, worked for some different agencies along the way. And really in the last decade, it's been the process of seeing how the digital revolution with video and internet marketing has really all come into its own in that last 10 years. And so that's the sandbox that I've been playing in. And so I've done commercial work for big brands and things like that, and done some documentary storytelling as well. And made videos for companies. But one thing I discovered along the way was that just making a video didn't really produce a result. I would produce really great work and no one would see it. Yeah. And without a digital marketing strategy, or really getting clear on your purpose behind the content and the result, it just seemed like a waste of money. And so I found myself working for the last 7 years with some of the biggest direct response marketing companies in the world, in the financial industry specifically, and some others, other types of business. Started to see how, wow, we were producing webinars that were generating 7 and 8 figures in a webinar, and how were they doing this? How are they going out there, producing content, putting it out in front of people, getting it to their laptops and phones, and people were sending thousands of dollars, So through that process, I really realized that what I wanted to do was talk to businesses. I love entrepreneurs. I think small business and business owners are heroes. That are out there providing value for people, and they're changing the world. And so I said, how can I take storytelling and powerful content creation and mix that with digital marketing in such a way that anybody can leverage the production values of the biggest brands and the strategies of the biggest direct response marketing companies in the world, and deploy it in their own businesses.
Nice. Wow. What a journey and path there. That sounds awesome. And we're so glad that you have the roots here, because you're bringing a ton of value to us by sharing this information. So we appreciate that greatly. So Jason, I terrible scheduling by me, but I unfortunately missed your presentation at ThreadX. I was doing a interview for this podcast, actually. But I've, like I said at the opening, continue to hear people rave about it. This gentleman sitting here with us, Eric, continues to talk about it. Won't stop, honestly. But he said
a lot of trouble, because here we are at a video podcast, and I'm like, so where are you? Where are you right now, dude?
Yeah, exactly. So Eric was talking about some of the stats you presented that show video was already incredibly important, but obviously we all know that everything's changed, and better or worse, whatever. But within this current climate, what has changed about content marketing and the importance of video?
Yeah, well, it's funny. The timing of ThreadX was crazy, because it was right before really events. It's the last event I did.
Yeah.
I had other events scheduled, shut down, and obviously things change. And first thing I need to do is I need to apologize to that audience, because I had intended on creating an entire series of videos to give to everybody, had people sign up for it, and then the world totally went insane. And I was in the mode of everybody else of I've got to make sure my business is going to keep going, and my employees are going to continue to have jobs. And so I ended up back burnering that a lot of content I was really going to be making, because I needed to make sure hey, we were able to hang on to all of the business that we could. And so, so anyway, that is forthcoming. I still have the names, but it's just been delayed. The other thing I wanted to say is that I do have a video of that presentation, and if you wanted to make that available to your community, I'd be happy to get that to you guys so that you can share that with your community, okay?
That would be
really incredible.
Yeah. So we'll do that offline, and then you guys can make that available to your folks.
Great.
So what was interesting is I immediately started getting phone calls about how to now use live video and set up things at home and all of that. Ended up consulting with a lot of people about that. And, you know, right after this coronavirus thing happened, you couldn't actually get a lot of the gear online. You know, webcams were sold out, video capture cards that you need to do live stream with other types of equipment. Like, you just couldn't get it. So unless you were already positioned to move into it, it was actually kind of difficult. And, you know, you had to just use what you had at hand.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I think that's been really incredible about this is a lot of people, it forced them to just adapt to that landscape and say, look, I've got to still connect with customers. I've got to still connect with prospects. I got to still find a way to get my word out there. And so people have learned how to use these different tools like StreamYard and the different content. The other thing I think that is really interesting about what's happened is, you know, main television shows, you know, Trevor Noah of The Daily Show is doing his show still from his apartment, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've sort of seen a mass acceptance of maybe lower production values.
Yeah.
That I think is a great service for regular people to know, like, listen, production values aren't everything. So what's more important is to do the fundamentals, you know, getting clear on what your message is, what value you create in the marketplace, and who you can serve. Those are the fundamental things that I think every business owner needs to think about. And it's the thing you need to get really clear on before you create your first piece of content, frankly. Because again, you don't just want to create content for content's sake. Yeah. You want to create content with a strategic purpose, whether it's to create awareness in the marketplace, whether it's to generate affinity between you and the marketplace, or whether it's to establish your authority as somebody worth listening to and following in that market.
See, and here you are jumping ahead of exactly where I wanted to take you. Those goals, those three kind of goals for what we're doing with content, that's something that I think really resonated, at least with me at ThreadX. I think that's the problem. That a lot of the people right now, they start out and they're like, I know I need to be somewhere. And so they just jump. And I mean, that's great that they're jumping at all. Because one of the things I said, like you said, the gift of lower production values, my other gift was people know how to use Zoom. Yep. Like you can have people on Zoom. And it's no longer just people who literally don't know what a webcam is or how to set things up. Everybody's had to go through the pain. So now you have access to people who you never had access to before for this stuff, especially when you're talking about live event stuff. But with that, I want to jump back on that, on your three goals again, have you restate that. So we have like the goals of primary goals of content marketing. I'd love to talk about that a little more and talk about how video really helps to cement those things, how it helps to advance us on those goals.
Yeah, and I want to say two things. First of all, I want to talk about, give a little framework for what I call the customer journey, which can kind of frame everything.
Yeah.
And what I call this is the ESCAPE framework. And it's an acronym, you know, and it's engage, subscribe, convert, ascend, promote, and explore. And let me just break this down, because it's within that framework that it helps you to understand how to use content. And so, you know, when people they have a need, or you're wanting to enter the conversation in the prospect's mind is what it is. What's keeping them up at night? What do they need? What are they looking to buy? Whatever it is, you know, you've got to find a way for them to just engage with you in a free manner, right? So to have some sort of a participation in that conversation, right? And from an initial piece of content, and again, it's not just limited to video. I focus on video for a lot of reasons, but one reason video is really powerful is because you can create video, and out of that, you can generate audio and written by doing the work really one time and slightly editing. and find yourself able to, make a post and also, a podcast, I think that's what you guys are doing right here.
Yep.
And so video is higher leverage than other formats of content creation. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you get people to engage. Then what you want to do is you want to get them to subscribe, to trade some sort of information so that you can have more attention from that audience in a more private way. And then ultimately to get them to convert to that first sale, for them to exchange something with you, that they've gotten out their credit card and they've purchased that small dollar purchase. From there, you want them to ascend your product ladder, and everyone should have not just one product, but a suite of products that they can sell, or services that initial person, because we all know that it's easier to sell somebody the second time than it is the first time by a huge margin.
Yeah.
And so you want them to ascend that product ladder, and then you want them to have an experience of you and with you that makes it easy for them to promote you to anybody that they know. And so you want to create that raving fan, and content creates a really easy way for people to do that, right? They've experienced your content. Now they're able to actually share that for you, right? And be able to bring people into that journey. And then when I use the final one, it's explore. It's because hopefully when somebody's done working with you, you've solved every problem you can possibly help them solve. And now they're off finding the next thing that they want to conquer in their life, right? And their life has been elevated. And so that framework is something to keep in mind about what are customers really doing. And so when we talk about that, within that journey, awareness, affinity, and authority are the things that you're looking to accomplish in their mind around you and your product. So there's something known as the customer awareness spectrum. And it's this idea that people can be grossly unaware that they have a need and unaware of the products that solve that need. And on the other end, it's people are highly aware of your product and highly aware of the need. Coca-Cola is over here in the thirst need and the product that solves it. And then over here is something that people aren't even aware exists, right? And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to meet customers who are somewhere along that spectrum. And you want to do one thing is to generate awareness that you exist and that you may be somebody who, through your product or service, can solve that problem. Okay. And then affinity, video is really powerful to generate that connection. All business is person to person. It's human to human. It's not business to business or business to consumer, right?
Yeah, totally.
We just buy from each other, and we want to, and we want to engage, and we want to like the people we do business with. It's actually the truth. So we build affinity by being ourselves, frankly, and being likable, and just putting ourselves out there, being authentic. And then through that process, if we're sharing our sphere of knowledge, we're going to build authority in that process. And that person's going to say, hey, this is the problem I have. This is the product. This is the person that I know best can help me solve it. And I like and trust them. Yeah. So video content, just all over the place, just hits on all of those areas. I do know that what ends up happening, though, is people can get pretty overwhelmed. Yeah. They can get really lost in the weeds because there's so many platforms. There's so many types of content to make. There's all of the gear. There's all of the technical. I don't know the first thing about editing or whatever. And so that is then, I think, what happens next. Once people have figured out, like, okay, I know I got a message. I know I can get it out there. Okay, yeah, I got it. I believe this is important. Yeah. But then there's just like this forest of overwhelm.
Yeah. So maybe talk to us about that, Jason. Once you get to that point, that forest of overwhelm, what do you suggest?
Yeah. Well, one thing I see people make the mistake of is because there's so many different places they can be, they try to be at all of those places. And, that's just like shotgun versus laser beam, right? Mm-hmm. And so the first thing I would say is, listen, if video scares you or you just don't like the idea of being in front of a camera, you got to get your voice out there. And you can create video and put your picture on a slide with information, and you can find the most attractive friendly picture that you have. I'm sure you have one.
Yeah.
And you can generate video without you having to be live on camera. You know, it takes a certain kind of person to jump on a live. It takes a little bit of comfort to do that.
Yep, sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. or just be completely an idiot, you know, to put ourselves out here.
Plenty of those, yeah.
Exactly. That's fine, you know. Hey, why not? Let's take the leap. But what I think is that so first of all, people need to figure out if you don't have a level of comfort around some content creation, the first thing to do is create content in a way you can be comfortable, right? Now, I do think you should push yourself a little bit. I do think what you need to remember is that nobody's really paying attention to a lot of the things that we get hung up about. Like, my hair's out of place, like the lighting isn't perfect, right?
Yeah.
I've got ums and uhs and I'm stuttering, and none of that really actually matters. Like some of the highest converting video online is cell phone video shot. It's all shaky. It's just incredible. So that stuff isn't that important. What you do need to do is have confidence in your message, right?
Yeah.
You do need to make sure that you have something to say and that you've done a little bit of time to order that and structure that in a way that makes sense. And then you just need to find the minimum viable gear in order to get started. And most of us have that in the form of a phone of any kind, to get just one way to get better sounding audio phone. So, you know, through a wired headset or even AirPods or something, that's totally fine. Don't get tripped up on that. You might even want to get like a little cell phone tripod so you can just set it up and that it's not shaking all over the place. Everything I've just covered there, other than the cost of the phone, is you know, minimal. You know, it's under $100. And so from a gear standpoint, you know, just do that. Put yourself in a place where you're not completely backlit, right? Have a window in front of you or some natural lighting, because otherwise you're going to look like a silhouette. Honestly, that's the basic what you need to try to get a halfway decent looking video together, right?
Yeah.
Then when it comes to platforms, what I say is choose one. So choose one method of content creation, right? So if you're going to make only a podcast, that's fine. But I would suggest you also take that and put a graphic to it and throw it on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get comfortable by making video, do that. Okay, I'm going to make iPhone videos. Okay, great. Now, what platform are you going to focus on? Don't go sign up for all of the platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, you know, Snapchat, whatever. You know, find one that you think is going to be most successful or relevant for you. And there's a couple of ways to go about that. So one thing to keep in mind is that YouTube is owned by Google, and much of YouTube is driven by intent-based search, or people who are looking for something. And so the most effective content that somebody beginning can start with is content that is around answers to questions people are looking for that you can solve. And so creating educational content, that builds authority and affinity, right? And awareness, does all three of them. But then you can find a way to start being discovered, or even just sharing that content onto a channel, right? So on Facebook is more of a passive channel. And so you're going to come across people's feeds. And right now, what I'm just talking about is just doing organic, non-paid content. Like, we're not talking about spending a bunch of money on ads. I just want people to get out there and start creating valuable content for their audience. Yeah. Facebook is more of a passive experience. And so you're going through people's feed. And so those people aren't searching for how to get something embroidered necessarily, not on Facebook, right? But those people are on Facebook. And so you can still show up in that platform. And the approach to creating what I think is good organic Facebook content, I would say even on Facebook, you can get away with doing something that even looks a little less polished. Like that the video where you're holding the iPhone and you're walking down the street and you're just talking about something, or you're going through your embroidery shop and you're just like, hey, I want to show you a quick video about this thing we're creating here. We had this little blah, 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 you know, off the cuff, keep it simple. That kind of content is very engaging. In both things I'm talking about, it's easy to keep it really short if you can. Keep this video under 3 minutes. There's a great reason to do longer content, but it takes a little bit more planning to do. And then LinkedIn, I think, is a good platform as well for some businesses, depending on who your audience is and who you're trying to reach out to.
Yeah.
Also, I would say if you've built a presence on any of these platforms already, and you've got, more so than another, go ahead and go to where you've already got a little bit of momentum, right? Rather than sort of starting from scratch. So that's definitely something I would say as well. One last thing I want to put out there is I think that Twitter is really a platform to watch. It's been around for a long time, but I'm seeing a lot of interesting things on there as far as content creation, the ability to create lead magnets through Gumroad, which is a website that you can do downloadable PDFs and guides and things.
Yeah.
And what I've also seen on Twitter, and a lot of people might not be aware of this, but like what's nice is you can connect with industry leaders on Twitter, and then it's really effective to go and comment on their commentary, right? So it actually gives you exposure to the people who are following them, and those people begin to follow you. And I think Twitter is one of the platforms that is underutilized by a lot of businesses. And it's surprising how quickly you can gain traction on it. And I'll put a button on this by saying, in everything I've just described, probably the most important thing is to generate consistency in what you do.
Yeah.
Decide how frequently you can commit to posting. Don't be like, all right, 5 days a week, live. Probably not a good idea. Once or twice a week is fine if you're not doing anything, but be consistent. Try to do it at a similar time of the day. Try to do it on the same day. You'll be surprised how people will start to expect and anticipate that, and you won't even know. You won't even know there's people watching your stuff until you don't post. And then they're like,
yeah.
why did you leave me?
Yeah. We've had that experience. Yeah.
8 years of doing this show. And then I'll say I'm now 6 months into my own live show that I do every week. And it's something that we've always it's always at the same time. I have people, if I haven't announced it the right time, if I don't have the promos up now, they'll ask me where the promo is before the podcast happens. And I'll say, just to echo your point too, with the Facebook stuff, with other places where you already have groups, and something that actually Brian Bailey, who's the creative in Brilliance, I'm in the Brilliant Studios right now, brought this up. We actually do live video on a regular basis, but what we do it also in is Facebook groups. If you have a vibrant Facebook group that's really engaged, that content can take off really crazy. But what he says is we do live stuff, and we have hundreds of videos around playlists on YouTube. But what his challenge is providing customers a way to navigate to what they want. And he wondered if you had any tips on that.
Yeah, so it seems like the question is that they've got tons of content, and getting people to kind of go through the content in a way that makes sense. And, so I would say great question, by the way. So this is something to know that is true to solve a problem in the internet age. Is curation of content is the big challenge now. Like, we've got too much, right? And it's being created every day. So you do your customer a big service by curating existing content. And by the way, you can have all this content out there for free, and people will pay you if you can give them the curated content, right? So it's like you could literally take YouTube videos you have for free. You have hundreds of them out there, and you could curate 20 of them and put them into a paid portal. And people will actually pay you for them because they could go find them, but it's like you're saving them a lot of time. So curation is very valuable. I think one thing that you could do is you could consider creating a video that would serve as sort of like a intro video, or like a watch this first video that shows them which exact playlist to go through, and make sure that you've got that set up. So it's like, hey, listen, if you're just new to this channel, we've got a playlist over here called the Top 10. That's 10 videos. They're 2 to 3 minutes long. They're sort of the crash course on, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then once you want to take a deeper dive, we've got these playlists over here that go deeper into these 5 topics or whatever it is, right? So that's one way to potentially do that. Is it sort of like you're creating almost your table of contents in a video that might live at the top of that page, that video could also be pinned to the top of like a group, I think, or like, I also know like when people have Facebook groups, many times they've got like, when people join, they're like, hey, do this first, boom, and bam, here's this video, watch this video first. That video can introduce people into that. So that's the thing that comes to my mind right now around that. Also, I would let you know this. If you have hundreds of videos on a channel and you recognize that those hundreds of videos, maybe you didn't have as much intention around them when you posted them, like that there's a lot of noise in that video content. If those videos don't have tons of views and aren't getting a lot of views and maybe don't align with maybe the journey that you'd want to take somebody on, don't hesitate to like unlist those videos on YouTube and sort of just clean up the space for people. That's something I would consider. I think sometimes people are wary to do that because it's like, I don't want to get rid of videos. And by unlisting them on YouTube, if those links are out in the world, they'll still be able to be found, right? People can still watch the video, but they won't show up in discoverability.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, and honestly, it kind of brings in something I wanted to talk to you about. You're talking about kind of how the journey is and what that journey is, how to get focused. Say we've done some videos that aren't focused. So let's say you're just starting out and you don't have this big background. What do you need to do in the kind of plumbing before you start, and kind of what should that first content be to get you established?
Yeah, that's really great. So, and again, this is very general. I assume it's business owners, entrepreneurs for the most part, or maybe even heads of marketing or things like that in here. But there's a handful of videos that I think are almost any business should have. So, the video business card or the about us video, right? It's kind of boring to say it that way, but it's like the high level, who we are, what we do, how we can help, how you can get in touch with us. Like, it's a valuable video. You should have it. It's something that I recommend, definitely. Then I recommend, and again, depending on your business, consider doing something that gives people a little bit of a behind the scenes and an introduction to the key players of it. And this can be an opportunity to do something really fun, like make it loose, make it, add some of the personality about who some of the key players are they're going to be interacting with along the way. That can be useful. It's like sort of an add-on to that. I then think that authority videos are really good, which are basically just how-to videos, like how to this, how to that, like top 5 list videos always are good. Like, especially if you can give somebody an idea of how much, content's in the video. So that authority building video is always really valuable. I would say if you have an opportunity to get client testimonials, other people, not you, talking about how great you are, that's really valuable. And if you can really be mindful about how you ask for those from people once they've had a good experience with you. And listen, we're in the age now, like, again, just have them shoot it. Just be like, hey, can you hold your phone sideways, horizontally? That's not even always true, by the way. Like, posting vertical videos on these social platforms is even sometimes better, not to confuse it. So it's almost like there's almost no wrong way to shoot a video anymore. Like, you could almost deploy it and still have it be effective. But, just have them shoot a quick video or pull them onto a Zoom call in maybe you've got an opportunity to do a final call with a client, customer satisfaction call in a Zoom. And in that Zoom recording, just simply ask them for that, put them on the spot. They might give it to you right there, record that Zoom call, and bam, you've got it. So I think those testimonial videos can be really good. And then I'll give another kind of behind the scenes video. This sounds really, so I know somebody who does voiceovers that we've used in the past. And he started posting these videos online, and it's like him in his bathroom that he soundproofed because he's doing professional voiceovers, but he can't go to the full studio anymore. And he's doing these voiceovers, and he's like superhero voice and whatever. He's just started recording himself actually doing the voiceover jobs he's getting, in his shower. And it's strangely engaging, like to watch a guy, like how does he do? And it's weird. You wouldn't think it'd be interesting, but that's true for what you do.
Yeah.
You've got things that you do, very mundane stuff you do in your business that is a way to pull people behind the curtain. And especially when you're in the industries that you guys are in, there's like lots of machinery and different gadgets and stuff. Like doing those kind of behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain videos, that's just sort of like, hey, I just want to show you something, right? And if there's a way to show somebody something that's like, oh, hey, we're doing a 5-color, screen printing shirt, and there's something interesting about this particular process that we're doing. I'm going to give one last video type that's sort of a weird idea, but I think it can be really effective, and I'll explain why it can be really effective on social media. Is if you have businesses that are local, that are clients that are local businesses, let's say you do like the apparel and like mugs for like a local coffee shop, and it's a good coffee shop in town. Consider going and doing sort of a commercial for them, doing a video that's like a testimonial video for them. Like you go to the coffee shop, you're like, hey guys, just wanted to show you, this is one of my favorite coffee shops in, Birmingham or whatever, wherever you live. They roast their own beans here, blah, blah, blah. Like, this barista is always got my order right and blah, blah, blah. And, I always get this coffee. So if you're ever in Birmingham, come check these guys out. They're awesome. And it's like literally not a commercial for you at all, right? What it is you're promoting somebody else who's got a local business and the other people might be interested in going to. What happens if you post that, on your business Facebook page and push it out there and share it with them, they're going to share it. Other people in the community are going to start seeing that, and they're going to experience you as somebody who's really a go-giver, somebody who's really like, a supporter. And and what's interesting is those videos get a lot of views, right? Yeah. Well, what's interesting is those views, Facebook registers the viewers on that. You can actually retarget other viewers. So I know realtors who have done this like crazy. They'll do like the 3 best taco joints in whatever town. And it's not a commercial for their real estate company, but it's an exposure to that person, to that local community. So sort of a ninja hack type video to do it. And you can do that. You just do that all on your iPhone. If you want to throw a couple of little lower third graphics or whatever, title cards or something, you just rip the logo of the company off the online, create the logo card in PowerPoint. Like it's, so anyway, those are some thoughts for you on that.
Those are so awesome though, because this is something we've been talking about a lot lately. We're saying, okay, even when we're dealing with customers, we're like, make the customer the hero. Right. Make them the hero. You are Yoda. They are Luke Skywalker. Like you are the one guiding them. They are the one they're the ones actually bringing home the good thing that they're trying to do. That's what they should be getting from you. But this also, when you talk about retargeting, because I've actually done this very thing way back in the day, early email marketing when video was a dream online. We were doing the same thing. I made a bunch of these email campaigns. And what I found out was all of a sudden I'm getting these things shared. They're sharing these blog posts. And like I'd share a blog post about a restaurant, and then other people from restaurants were viewing it, and then their clients were viewing it. And so I'm getting like this massive spread out into areas that aren't related to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that was incredible doing that. So the customer, when I heard you talk about customer commercials, I was so jazzed. I'm like, man, now that I think about it, revisiting that concept with video, I'm like, it's so much more awesome than it could have been back in the day. Where we're like mocking up graphics and throwing them out on, email campaigns. The video is such a cooler way to do it. And honestly, it plays into that whole story brand kind of thing where you're making people have this journey and you're making the customer part of that. Like, what does that customer want? And part of what they want is that recognition too. And everybody likes that warm fuzzy when they're getting promoted. And
100%.
Total social proof where it's like I said, I would throw out this thing about a local restaurant that was fairly popular. And then other indie restaurants around are looking at that restaurant that had taken off in town and going, well, they get their stuff over there. Maybe that's who we should look at. I know they can already do it. It's like social proof, and you get to promote a customer. You really can't beat the customer commercial.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so Jason, the content ideas are great. I mean, we actually get that all the time. It's like, oh, I want to do more. I want to create content, but I don't know what to post. And so there you go, folks, right there. And that, 5-10 minute segment. You got a
Oh,
ton of
yeah.
great stuff. But let's talk about, we talked earlier on about kind of live versus pre-recorded and stuff like that. How do you go towards that? You know, I know you talked about comfort a little bit, but what's the difference there? Does pre-recorded video and live video have different effects, and what should businesses be doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to say this. I mean, I don't think people should worry too much about it, like from a standpoint of like, you know, which is one better algorithm, one getting promoted more, like whatever, like, because the interesting thing is that all of this stuff takes a little bit of time, meaning you're not going to get traction right away. And so I know people can get real discouraged if they start doing like lives and like they do them for 6 months and they're like, man, I thought I'd have more viewers by now or whatever. You know, it's sort of like all of this stuff is like this. Like you build, because you build off of the momentum and library of the past. I mean, I know people in different industries who have spent 2-3 years just organically posting really consistently and great content, and it's just been a slow burn, but then a couple of things really hit, and then it's that backlog library of content that is the gold mine, and it's what gets the buy-in. And so number one, I didn't say this before, but like think about creating bingeable content. Think about creating content that people, when they find one piece, they will go back and want to ingest the rest of the backlog. So it's like you're building digital assets that appreciate in value. And so that takes a little bit of time. So what I would say when it comes down to it is like, I think that go with your comfort level. But when it comes to live video, I think don't be afraid to go live and know that it's really easy right now. Like StreamYard, I think, is what you guys are using. StreamYards are really powerful. Like StreamYard is like the perfect mix of like simplicity, but with a few little upgrades that you can make it look good. It's really easy to use. And the account it's dirt cheap to have it really. And so, you know, I think if somebody wants to dip their toe in lives, what I would say is like, consider doing one pre-recorded video each week and do a live like every other week. I don't know, or periodically, and see what happens. Like, see how it feels for you. Don't go storming the gates announcing your 52-week content plan that you're not going to fulfill on in 3 weeks, right? Like, you know, just start doing some stuff and see what happens. And what I find most of the time is that when people start going live, they like it. It's fun. They like the engagement. And what I have also seen, to put a little bit of positivity, like I've often seen people just go live 3, 4, or 5 times, and they'll start to get some engagement. Comments will start to come in, and it doesn't really take usually very long. Once you've done it a few times, consistency. So people sit back. They're like, well, let's see if this is going to be a thing or not. And then when you say it's going to be a thing, people start chiming in. People who support you will chime in, and that engagement, you guys can say, is just so much fun. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. So if you think live might be a direction you want to go, I think it's way more fun. I think it's way more valuable when it comes to building relationship with audience, and it's never been easier than ever. Yeah.
I agree. There's nothing to argue with on that. Like, that is absolutely the case. And honestly, StreamYard, it's not supposed to be a big ad for StreamYard, but hey, StreamYard, like, sponsor us, hit us up. But sincerely, StreamYard, I probably sold more StreamYard licenses than anybody I know, because everybody always like, how are you doing that in the production? I'm like, well, you click the little thing, you click the icon. It's not that hard. But going live, it's like you get, not only do you get it from the interaction is so great, but when you're consistent, as much as everybody says like everything is it, and I mean, bingeable content, absolutely. I think you want both, really. For me, I think you kind of have that mix is the best thing. Having a backlog. The cool thing is if you go live consistently, the backlog just builds itself. Because everybody I know goes, okay, I'm going to start produce little videos, and I think that's a good idea. I actually want to do that myself, and then have some of that for the bingeable content, but then also have the lives. I'm like, but if all you can do is manage one weekly live, take it from me. After 6 months, you now have a chunk of those lives that are going to be worthwhile for people to go back and look at.
Yeah, so, and I just want to make one quick comment. By the way, like even in this video we just did, right? We're here for an hour, but like you could cut down several small chunks, like the section about what are the videos a business owner should create.
Yeah.
That's like a standalone video. You already got the content. You just cut them down into bite size.
Let me just write down, what was the
It's a
time?
great way. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, I mean, the truth is like if you could sit and create a halfway decent length live and you've got something interesting to say, chances are you've also just created a few smaller videos that you can repost. So it's this create once, leverage multiple times. That's the way you can kind of create a bit of a flywheel in your content marketing.
What I'd like to do, bring in, since we talked about it briefly, just one comment. You were talking about how, you don't know what's interesting to other people. And I kind of like this. Carolyn, who's a listener of ours, brings this in. First thing I'm going to say is I stop now. All these years, 2 decades of embroidery experience, I watch machines run online. I feel like an idiot every time I do it. I'm going, no, that design's going. Well, how's that path going? Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, I don't know why I'm watching it. And so people who don't know obviously love it, but I love this. Carolyn's best post, cutting masks out with the wheel of death, like a rotary cutter. And it's like, so here she is running around with a rotary cutter. People are watching her do that. So
Hey,
you don't know.
She was going to do it anyway, right? It's like, okay, yeah, it is. It's so that way. So amen to that. That is so true in any industry. I don't care what you're in.
Nice.
Yeah, do the thing, document the thing, and share it. And that's it's part of the authenticity of the thing too. So I love those points. So on that, if people are getting themselves set up in the space, like, what should they look for to get themselves up initially? And let's say they want to go big, like they want to go and do more. What could someone like yourself, like what could a production company add to this? What could hiring somebody on add to this if they wanted to go to the next level?
Yeah. So what it looks like, or here's what I think the smart way to do it is to see if you can hire a company and then batch content create. Mm-hmm. So I've worked with clients before where we've gone out, we've shot 25 videos in one day, right? Wow. Like it takes a little bit of planning, right? You got to sit down, we got to strategize about it. We look and we say, okay, we're going to create the About Us video. We're going to do the interviews. And then there's something called B-roll, which is the sort of interesting visual content that goes over interviews or over audio. And you've got to make time to shoot that content too. But you can say, oh, we're going to shoot all of our how-to videos, all of our About Us videos. Yeah. We're going to do the company tour. We're going to do, and think about it from a standpoint that if you hire a video production company to come out, most video production companies are going to charge you a half day or a full day. So just hire a company for a full day and work them to death, right? Be like, you're gonna put in your full 10 hours, boys. Because the marginal cost of the video goes down, right? So it's like, get all of that content knocked out, build the library. You don't have to edit it all right now. By the way, go ahead and just budget that out over the year, right? So, and so we've done that with a number of our clients where we meet them for a strategy call. We talk about like, hey, what do you want to accomplish? We get clear on what their sales process and funnel is, talk about, give them advice around that. And then we plan that shoot day. And by the way, I'm out in Miami right now. These small shoots, like we're still doing them right now. Like, we're going into businesses, and wearing masks and all that thing. But, so batch content creation is really the key. And you'd be surprised at how inexpensively you can really do it when, you're going to have to maybe pay a small team a day or two of shooting. And then you may get into a couple of weeks of post-production, or even just like maybe a week or a little over a week to get a few initial videos out. And then you've kind of got a backlog of content that you can say, okay, hey, we're going to have a video editing team produce 2 videos a month for us for the rest of the year. And so that is what I think is the smartest thing to do. And listen, if you've got any kind of marketing budget right now in your business, if you're big enough that you have an internal marketing person or you have a marketing budget of any kind right now, you probably should spend a little bit of money on either some consulting or some production from a professional company to make sure that the content that's created is done in a way that's going to actually produce results. And I'll plug myself a little bit. If you work with a company that really understands digital marketing, really understands video sales funnels, and really understands this customer journey rather than just a wedding videographer or something. Those guys are great. They do incredible looking work, but there's more to this than just creating a really nice looking video. Yeah. There's a little bit of secret sauce that goes into the background, and so find somebody who's done that kind of work to generate results.
Nice. Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I think that last point that you made there, Jason, is really important because, we all look out there and go, oh, yeah, I need to get somebody to do some video. And like you said, you find the wedding guy or whatever, the guy on Fiverr. And I've unfortunately made that mistake. It's like, oh, my God, that was a huge waste of my time because, you're missing that whole piece of like you said, the secret sauce that's there. So, all right, Jason, thank you so much. This has been amazing. So much great information. Let's leave with this. Where can people find you? Where can they connect with you? Find your company that they're ready to hire you today. How do they do that?
Yeah, just reach out to me you can come to jasonrink.com. Okay. Or you can go to simplifilm.com, and you guys will have the links in that. But jasonrink.com, you can reach me there, or simplifilm.com, or just reach out to me on Facebook as well. I know me and Eric are friends on Facebook, so you can find me there. And I accept most friend requests that don't look like they're Nigerian scammers or scantily clad women that can get me into trouble.
Yes, indeed.
That's good. Or for all the digitizing folks out there, all the embroiderers, the many, many, many people who are definitely from your state who are offering digitizing. Tons of them. It's right next door.
Well, listen, you guys have me on. I'll come on anytime. Happy and hope to see you guys out at an event soon.
Yeah, definitely, Jason. Man. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you very soon, sir.
All right, thanks.
Man, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Great information. I mean, the thing that with Jason that and we kept him. His phone was probably ringing because he had stuff to get off and do. So we appreciate him giving us this bonus time. But we had comments that we couldn't even get to, and totally. Because you didn't want to interrupt all that gold coming at you,
Oh, and the thought that we're going to be able to share that talk from ThreadX, I am super jazzed because everything we didn't get to, I think, will be in that talk. And he had some great stuff about setup and conversion and tracking with the Facebook pixel, stuff that we need to know for that kind of plumbing that's behind the scenes. Yeah. So I mean, it's just awesome to hear the content stuff and the background. That's what you get from somebody who knows kind of both sides of marketing and the video. Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, and I don't want to make sure that everybody understands that last point to me was like the real key is that when you're looking to do this stuff, you got to have some of that forethought. You have to have some of that ability to go, okay, I'm creating content, but what's the reason? And therefore, you've got to work with somebody that understands. He was talking about how they start off with a call that kind of a strategy call, but some of the things he says, we find out what the content. I mean, they're going to give you advice right there. So probably that strategy call is worth its weight in gold to begin with. Anyhow, we could.
Oh yeah, no. Well, it's the things we talk about. And it's knowing your audience, knowing where they're at, knowing how to address them, the kind of content that's going to engage. And I mean, that was just incredible stuff. And honestly, if you picked up on 2 tips out of this thing, like you picked up on the customer referral, if you picked up on the customer commercial, if you picked up on how to, going live and consistency, any one of those things would be really valuable to your content strategy. So hopefully people will be listening back through to this one later. And I would absolutely love to have Jason back in again.
Yep, definitely. Cool. All right, Eric. Well, what do you have coming up so we can get on out of here?
I think I'll just go ahead and promote my show for today since we are way into bonus time already. Today at 2:30 Mountain Time, since we like to fight over which time zone is the most important. Today I'll be doing the Take Up, and it's all about making multimedia design. So today, 2:30, we're going to talk a little bit about multimedia. We're going to talk about the different ways that pertains to embroidery and digitizing and how you can do multimedia stuff with any equipment you have. And if you go ahead and check me out on facebook.com/Eric, ERICH, Campbell. I don't have Terry here to say E-Rich, so I guess I'll do it myself. I'll out myself on it. Why not? We only hurt ourselves. But yeah, facebook.com/Eric.Campbell is probably the easiest way to go, but I'm also on YouTube, and I will be posting that stuff both on my page and elsewhere shortly, so you can get in on the Take Up today.
Nice. All right. Well, Terry, not sure how updated or whatnot. He is actually off in Seattle today. We didn't mention this, but
Yes,
he's up
this is
in
true.
Seattle. Just had a new grandbaby. He was going to be the first week of watch.
Yes.
So his daughter, his oldest daughter, has 3 grandsons already, and they just welcomed their first baby girl to the world this last week. I've got the name in here somewhere.
Congratulations.
So congratulations to Terry. But if you want to make sure you check in on Terry, he's got all of his upcoming classes and events are over at terrycombs.com under the tab tour dates. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've jided him enough to the point where he is now keeping that up to date all the time. So no, he's doing that on his own. Wasn't anything to me. So
The big book of travel is looking a little rougher these days. than it usually
Yeah,
does.
for sure. So
What do you got going on, sir?
well, just again, our success group. Oops, wrong side. Our success group is going well. We're really excited. The community is growing and building. We just finished up this Wednesday with a really great session about social media efficiency, scheduling posts, all that kind of fun stuff. In fact, the ideas about content, I can't wait to go share some of this with our success group. So our next one coming up on August 5th, we're going to be talking about taking quality photography without breaking the bank. And so that's going to be exciting. And then beyond that, August 19th, we have branding beyond the logo. And it's going to be our very first guest instructor. We're going to have Jay Bassell joining us. And he's awesome. So we're really looking forward to that. To catch any of that stuff, you just need to become a member. There are going to be some price increases coming soon on that. So if you're not a member already, I recommend you get over to oursuccessgroup.com and get signed up, because once you are signed up as a member, that price is yours locked in. So the rates are really low, and then we want to get people into the community and get it built. But we got some really cool things coming up here, so prices are going to have to go up. And then the other thing I've been working on is just kind of keeping busy over at montco.biz. We've got sublimatable face masks, and those are available in stock right here in St. Louis. So I've been seeing all these poor people out there on the Facebook groups getting burned by, oh yeah, this will ship this week, and then it's Pakistan, and now all of a sudden the email doesn't work, and they sent $500, and so just be careful out there. RTS is the new buzzword in face masks, which ready to ship, and they are actually in St. Louis. We've got all the actual inventory numbers on our website there. Keep that up to date so they're going hot and heavy. In fact, I'm concerned that we're going to run out. I just got in touch with my folks over there to try to get some more coming, and they're trying to pump them out as fast as they can too. Obviously, with schools looking to go back, I know our school here in St. Louis that my son goes to, they're going to be required to have masks if they go back. So check that out. We're also doing some DTG. In fact, speaking of that, that's the last thing I wanted to share, Eric, is tomorrow morning, I'm trying something new. I got a setup going, and I'm actually pretty proud of the way it turned out last night. I did a little testing. We're going to do some printing. I'm going to show people how to print onto pockets, and just the process with DTG, and how it's not as easy as you might think. And so there's some setup that goes into it, but if you do some things right, you can consistently turn out a decent pocket imprint. Actually, we're going to print onto a physical pocket. So
nice.
I'm excited to do that. We've got a little overhead set up, and we'll see how it goes. It could fail miserably, but my hope is that it doesn't. And so we're trying something new. That's what you got to keep doing.
I saw your setup. I saw you posted about the setup, and I was like, man, that is the way to do it. I can't wait to see some of those overhead videos and stuff. That's super cool. And I hate to say this. I mean, I never want to discourage people from doing stuff, but I do like when someone comes out and says, all right, aside from the sales pitch, it's not just pushing a button. Not that you can't do it. Here's the ways you do it. Here's the way you do it well. But it isn't just pushing a button. Here's the realistic view of what it's going to look like to be behind the machine. And I think that's awesome. So I'm glad to see you doing that. Yeah, totally. So we're really excited about that tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time, the center of the universe, Eric. I don't know. So that ends up being 7 o'clock your time, Eric. So nice and early for you. And all right, cool. Well, Eric, yes, into bonus time. Thanks, everybody, to joining us. And a special thanks to Jason for his time. I know we took up more time than he was allotted. So, again, go check him out. It's easy to find him. JasonRink.com is the best way to find him. Eric, thank you for sitting in, sir. Appreciate your time today as well. Hitting all the buttons. Oh, hey, no, it was a fantastic time. And I was really glad that I got to be on with Jason because, like I said, really dynamic speaker and had great information. So definitely thank you to Jason and for all the stuff that he shared today that, stuff you could have charged for, and you certainly gave us a lot of value for all of our listeners. So also, as we come to the close of this, I want to make sure we thank our sponsor, Impressions Expo. Like I said, folks, they do need some encouragement these days. Things are tough. Say something nice to the Impressions Expo folks when you see them next.
Nice. Yep. And then I just saw Sandy post about please don't run out. Sandy, I am doing everything in my power to not run out. So I just made a very significant investment this morning, actually, to make sure that we don't. So fingers crossed. Call the folks at Customs and tell them to be nice to us. All right. Eric, next week's show, we're going to welcome in friend of the show, David Shaw. He's been a sponsor, Ace Transfer Company, just been a good friend of both Terry and I's. Eric, I'm not sure how well you know David, but he's a fantastic guy. And we're going to continue a conversation that began over a couple of cocktails, which is what Two Regular Guys is all about. We started at the hotel lobby bars, but on one of our not too distant Two Regular Guys virtual cocktail parties, Decorators Community Cocktail Parties, we were discussing legacy, and he's getting to that stage where he's ready to retire and bringing kids into the business, and how does that work, and what's the legacy all about? So we're excited to talk to him Friday morning at 10. So probably less cocktails, but going to be great information.
We're not bringing the kids into the cocktail hour. We're bringing the kids into the business, and
bringing the kids. Adult kids taking over the business potentially, or how you transition.
Family business and transitions. And boy, him thinking about that, I'm glad that he's doing this topic, because I've seen a whole lot of family businesses that definitely needed to think about it before they did it.
It's not easy. It's certainly not easy. It's just everybody comes from a different place, whether you're your kids or not. That transition away, and if you've built something, it's your business, it's your baby. You gotta think it through. So we're going to talk about that. I'm excited about that for sure.
Awesome to hear him coming in next week. But with that, it's definitely the close of the show. And until then, I'm Eric Campbell sitting in for Terry Gomes. He's Aaron Montgomery,
and we are the Two Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.